For decades, downtown and Market Street in particular has been the hub of commercial and entertainment activity for Wilmington. And while this corridor has certainly had its ups and downs, I think it's easy to say that Market Street has been on a major upswing for the last 20 years. I was here in the late 90s, as were many of you, and at the time, Market Street was home to dozens of vacant buildings and storefronts, almost no residential population, very few visitors, and sidewalks that were pretty totally empty come 5 o'clock. Let's pause for a moment to reflect on that, because as you all know, that's not the same Market Street that we know and love today. In the last 20 years, there has been so much progress made. Not only new restaurants like La Fia and Twisted Soul, who we're in front of today, but also new destinations for fun like World Cafe Live at the Queen and Merchant Bar. This intersection alone at 5th and Market has seen a dramatic transformation, not to mention all of the other blocks along Market Street. And as we think about what's next for Market Street, I think we all want the same thing. We want those empty storefronts to become home to the mix of shopping, dining, and entertainment venues that will make Market Street a destination for everyone. So how do we make that happen? I think one way is the same way that we've done it in the last 20 years of progress that we've seen. We've done it together. A collective effort of city and state governments, nonprofit organizations, businesses of all sizes, and community members has made Market Street what it is today. And that same collaborative effort will make our vision for the future possible. We talk a lot in Wilmington about pieces of the puzzle and tools in the toolbox. We know that one of our missing pieces in Wilmington's complex puzzle is a complete and unique mix of retail, entertainment, and restaurants along Market Street. But today we announced that one more tool in our toolbox can make that missing piece appear. Thanks to the generous support of JPMorgan Chase, the Market Street Corridor Revitalization Fund has been established at First State Community Loan Fund, providing the funding to establish that needed mix of small businesses along Market Street. When Governor Markell's office announced the Downtown Development District program, I don't think anyone in the room could have imagined what that would really mean for the towns and cities of Delaware. In Wilmington, it's meant that $10.5 million of state support has leveraged more than $249 million of private investment for major development projects to move forward. That's better than a 24-to-1 return on his investment and on the state's investment, a windfall of return by any standard. Needless to say, the DDD has become an incredibly important tool in Wilmington's toolbox, and we are extremely grateful for the governor's leadership and the state legislature's support for this program. Governor Markell is now here to say a few words. Governor?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Carrie. Just to be very clear, when Carrie says it's a big return on his investment, I'm very clear it's actually a big return on the taxpayer's investment. So let's be very explicit about that. So it is great to be here. I do want to thank all the folks who are making this happen. Certainly, Bill, to you and your team, to Phil and to Marge and to Daryl and the entire JPMorgan Chase team. We are so grateful. And you talked about 20 years. I mean, I think 10 years ago, I've seen pictures of Lower Market where, 3/4 of it I think was boarded up. And to think about where we are today and the trajectory that we are on, it really is very exciting. And I think there are lots of reasons for it. Certainly the downtown development districts are an important tool, but we are very aware that it's only a tool and that without people who are willing to take the risk of their own, their own time, their own sweat, and their own money, none of this would have happened. But for me, it is thrilling to be able to go throughout Wilmington, certainly up and down Market Street, but also the phenomenal new project that's underway just a couple blocks from here, the old parking lot that you can see. You actually can't see it all that well because it's blocked off by the fence. But I peeked through yesterday, and the progress is clear. And so, a couple hundred new residential units alone in that property, along with some retail and parking. Up and down Market Street over the last 18 months, probably close to 100, Rob? 150 new residential units. I mean, this is exactly what people have been talking about. We want more people who are living in the city, who are working in the city, who are spending their money in the city, and that's what this is all about. And it would not happen without a great partnership. It's great that Theo is here from City Council and the mayor's represented. You need everybody working together. I do want to acknowledge Bernice Whaley, who's standing in the back, the head of the Economic Development Office. Bottom line, a lot of people working to have made this progress possible. We have a lot more progress to make, but I do feel, and I know that others feel as well, I think we're probably at the very close, if not past the tipping point. And just people, it's just different. And it's going to be, it's just going to continue to get better and better. And I think, as Kerry said, that $11 million of private money, public money, leveraging over $200 million of private money in Wilmington alone, that's a lot of money. And there's a lot being invested besides what's the downtown development districts meant. I do want to make one last point. I think it's important that everybody sort of have a perspective on this. Frankly, and when Kerry said nobody would have expected back then how much private money would have come in as a result, I think that's because a lot of us, including me, just were not fully aware of what a difference maybe $500,000, $600,000 can make when it comes to a $10 or $15 or $20 million investment. And it can. And I think whether you talk to BPG or whether you talk to many of the other developers up and down the state, it has made a huge difference. And in a similar way, Bill, I want to say to you, I think this Corridor Revitalization Fund can have a similar impact. And what you see is people literally willing to make investments that they otherwise just would not have been comfortable making, because these funds just put the return over the top. And so we are truly, truly grateful to your entire team, to everybody who's come together, and I just can't wait to see the additional progress we're going to make right here in Wilmington. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Governor Markell, for being with us today and for all of your support for Wilmington. Our state in general has most definitely benefited from your leadership these last 8 years, and we appreciate all of your work and commitment so much. At this time, I'd like to invite Gary Fullman, the Chief of Staff to Mayor Dennis Williams, to come up to say a few words on behalf of the city.
Good morning. Governor Markell, thank you for the last 8 years. Your unwavering support of the city has been great. Council President Gregory, likewise. Much of what's going on in the city could not have been done without your support and your untiring efforts. Rob, it goes without saying, you've been a true friend and a true supporter and believer in this city. Earlier, I heard folks talk about 10, 20 years ago. I'm going to take you back a little farther. I'm going to take you back 40, 50 years ago here in Wilmington. Clinton Times, who is standing in front of me, used to be with the Center of, I guess it was Minority or Economic Development with the University of Delaware, remembers it well, as does Council President Gregory. Wilmington was the, or I should say downtown was the heart of the city. It connected north and west, and east, north and south, and east and west. Everything evolved around the city. I'm reminded often about times when Mayor Williams, his brothers Marcus and Lawrence, and I would converge on downtown Wilmington on Sunday afternoons to partake a movie at what is now known as the Grand Opera House. While it may have changed, it's still the center of entertainment here in the city. There was a time when you need not go any farther than downtown Wilmington for your entertainment, for your food, and for your clothing. Was here also in the late 60s when Wilmington went on life support. And over that time, there were many that kind of thought that Wilmington was not going to make it. But through the efforts of many of you out there, those folks that I mentioned earlier, can't forget our banking friends, Chase, Darrell, and many of the other banks, starting probably back in '81 coming forward, who have continued to support the city. I've watched over the last 10 and 20 years, as Carrie's mentioned, Wilmington start to bounce back. And the pulse, that heart, is getting a little stronger and stronger. And through the continued efforts like those that we're here to talk about today, I am very confident that Wilmington will make a full recovery. It will have a strong pulse and heartbeat, and it will rejoin all of our communities back together, including the county and including the rest of the state. Because how goes Wilmington, so goes the county and the state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gary, for being with us this morning. In the late 90s, when the Buccini-Poland Group announced that it would be investing in downtown residential development in Wilmington, I think pretty much every person that they spoke to thought that they were absolutely crazy. They struggled to convince everyone that Wilmington, like other cities, would benefit from growing its urban center with residents in mind. But they had a vision, and they knew that Wilmington could realize the rebirth of city living that other cities were realizing as well. And now, all of these years later, not only have they proven that they were right, they still continue to make that investment every day. It's my privilege to welcome Rob Buccini to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Gary. Thank you, Governor. We have learned one thing: when you do something in downtown Wilmington, it takes a village. If you go by Midtown, our project that we have under construction, I think every lender in the state is represented there, every financial services. Everyone really stepped up to take a piece of that transaction, and this obviously further demonstrates the incredibly collaborative working environment that we have here in the city of Wilmington. So from the JP Chase team, Jocelyn Stewart from Barclays, First State Community Loan, it really is no surprise why we have seen such a resurgence of residential and retail here in the downtown. The one thing that's so exciting is that as we deliver additional residential apartment units, the retail continues to improve. So as we build more units that for people to live in, more houses for people to live in, more people go to the streets and go use the restaurants, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So as Joe Van Horn will tell you about how his business has improved this year, even though we've added additional restaurants and bars to the street, it really works like the food court concept that you would see at a mall, where the greater the amount of outlets you have for dining and for retail, the better we do here. So that thesis that we were very hopeful about actually has worked, and that doesn't always happen if you're a real estate developer. So we're thrilled by that. We're thrilled by the success of Merchant Bar. 2 blocks up, you'll see the opening of Starbucks at the end of September or early of October. So that really obviously is a transformative event. And we, as the governor mentioned, we brought online at the beginning of this year 150 apartment units on Market Street. And I'm excited to say that we're at 95% occupancy as of this week, which is really incredible given that we're not at the end of the calendar year. So obviously there's demand for it. The people that we have living here are incredibly positive and engaged in the community, and it's people like that that continue to help make the city of Wilmington better. So thank you for everything that you all do.
Thank you so much, Rob. Every community hopes that it has corporate citizens who are dedicated and invested. In the case of Wilmington and JP Chase, it would almost seem like dedicated and invested aren't strong enough adjectives to describe Chase's commitment to our city and its future. From investments across the downtown development district in West Center City, the Creative District, and East Side Rising, Chase has been an integral part in all of those efforts advancing forward. Now, with this new additional investment in Market Street, Chase reaffirms its commitment to making Wilmington not only an exceptional place for residents and visitors, but also for their thousands of employees who come to work in our downtown district every day. Here to say a few words on behalf of JP Morgan Chase is Bill Wallace, Managing Director and the Delaware location leader. Bill?
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Gary, Rob, Governor Markell, for not only your positive comments, but also your collective unwavering commitment to the city of Wilmington. We could not, on behalf of all of my JP Morgan Chase colleagues, we could not be more thrilled to be here today to take part in this event. We're incredibly pleased to make a $600,000 commitment to the Market Street Corridor Revitalization Fund, a fund that's really designed to enable small business development along this corridor, which really represents the cultural backbone of the city. The fund, the businesses that it will support, will really complement a set of strategic development initiatives that the state, we at JP Morgan Chase, and our community partners have supported. They include things like East Side Rising, the Creative District, the Midtown Revitalization Program, among others. Our community partners include the Buccini Pollen Group. They include the City of Wilmington, the Wilmington Renaissance Corp, Downtown Visions, as well as the Interfaith Community Housing and Wilmington Housing Partnership, along with a number of our my fellow competitors in the financial services sector that also operate here in Wilmington. This $600,000 investment is part of a $2 million two-year commitment from the JP Morgan Chase Foundation. And it's really our sincere hope that this investment will empower others from the public and private sector to continue to make investments to support the Downtown Development District as well as the East Side Rising initiative. We're incredibly proud at JP Morgan Chase of the role that we play in the communities that we serve for organizations and programs like this. We also recognize the importance of supporting the communities that our employees live and work in, and clearly with 10,000 employees in the state of Delaware, 4,500 of which roughly work in Wilmington, we have an incredibly strong support for this particular city. And we know how critically important a vibrant Market Street corridor is to enabling us to continue to attract and retain great talent to our company. I think we also take a lot of pride in initiatives like this where public, private, and nonprofit organizations can come together to not only enrich the lives of all the citizens of Wilmington, but I think importantly to create opportunities for the commercial, the educational, the nonprofit development to continue in a way that enables businesses to grow and employment opportunities to arise for the city's residents. So with that, I just want to thank all of our collective participants, the state, the city, our community partners for this continued great work on the city of Wilmington. We're incredibly proud to be part of it, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. There probably aren't enough ways in which we can say thank you to you and the entire JP Morgan Chase team who has been so dedicated to Wilmington, either through this funding or through their involvement with nonprofit organizations that are working in the Downtown Development District area. Marge Hannum, Daryl Graham, Don Mell, Tracy Bieberman, Phil Christian, and Kari DeWitt, just to name a few. Thank you all so much as well. At the end of the day, it's the small business owners who make Market Street thrive and who will use this program to improve or expand their businesses. Here to share his perspective is Joe Van Horn, co-owner of Chelsea Tavern and Ernest & Scott Tap Room. Joe?
Good morning, everyone. I was very excited to be asked to speak today. I didn't know why exactly at the beginning, but I've been in the restaurant community in Wilmington for about 30 years now, and somewhere along the way I was asked to come and participate in a restaurant project on Market Street, and the first question was why? Why would I do that? I'd been here a long time, and to be perfectly honest, I'd been to Market Street very infrequently, occasionally to go to see a show, visit 821 ironically, to have dinner, and I was sold by my late partner, Scott Morrison, Rob Buccini. This is going to be a renaissance. We're going to change things. We're going to make Market Street what it hasn't been in 30 years. And I said, okay. I needed a job really bad, and I said, I'm in. I'm going to do this. And then I looked at Scott and said, why? And he said once again, he goes, good food, good service, people will come. And I always believed that. And right in about a year in, the Renaissance happened, and the parking garage behind us closed, was condemned. And we were like, oh, and our sales, which had been fairly successful for the first year, took a big hit. I'm happy to say if sales stay the way they are this year, we'll be doing $2 million in sales, which I think is an incredible achievement. Since then, we have opened Ernest and Scott Tap Room, and it also, it plateaued, it went up, it went down, and now sales have stabilized, and we're looking at a renovation there, as well as an expansion of Chelsea Tavern. People then say, oh my God, there's construction behind you. Has that affected your business? And I said, it has affected the business a little bit. There's a little less parking. There's a lot more trucks. There's a lot more noise. But to me, every time that pile driver hits, it's like a cash register ring, because I know what's coming, and we're very, very excited. Lots of other opportunities have happened on this street for a lot of other people. Some that have opened already, like Lafayette and Merchant Bar. Some that are going to happen soon. Rumors are flowing everywhere. So I'm always asked, are you scared of new competition and this? And as far as I'm concerned, is every time another place opens, we get busier. I don't want to say that we're the best place, but you know, we're pretty good, and we're the cool place. We were the ones that were here at the beginning, and we're always going to be that place. Craft beer revolution really helped us out a lot. We're the place to go for a great craft beer. A great burger, but also a great time. And I think Market Street is becoming a great time now. And it's a great time for people to get in. And I say, you know, I worked at Columbus Inn, which I always felt I was on the top floor of the restaurant industry. And then I came to Chelsea, where I got in on the ground floor or something. And I'm very excited about everything that's coming in the future. And I thank the foresight and of BPG, of the Riverfront Development Corporation, of all these people. And now, to have the chance to connect the two, I think is going to be something great for this street and for the state. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Joe. The key to this whole effort for the Market Street Corridor Revitalization Fund will be the First State Community Loan Fund, the organization that will manage the fund and make sure that investments made will accomplish the goals set forth. Here to share more details on the program is First State's CEO, Van Hampton. Van?
Good morning. Before I get started with my comments this morning, I want to take some time to thank and acknowledge Twisted Soul, the restaurant that we're standing in front of. I really appreciate them offering their space today for us to have this event. They are a new restaurant here in the city. They've been here a couple of months. A jazz lounge and soul food restaurant. And we chose them because we think they're the type of business that we want to bring to Market Street. We're actually working with them under this program right now, providing some technical assistance, helping them through the DDD application with the state. So again, thank you, Twisted Soul. The other thing that I'd like to mention is they're going to open up early today, and they prepared a special brunch menu. I believe I was told chicken and waffles. Now I've eaten here three or four times. I think I've eaten at Twisted Soul 7 times since they opened, and I can personally vouch for the food. So I'm asking you all to hang around after the event and support them. They need the support, and we're really proud to have you here. So thank you, the folks from Twisted Soul. So first, let me tell you a little bit about First State Community Loan Fund. We are a nonprofit community development financial institution. We've been around for 24 years, and we specialize in providing loan capital and technical assistance to small businesses and community organizations throughout Delaware and in southeastern Pennsylvania. In our 24-year history, we've provided over $30 million in financing to nearly 1,200 businesses and community organizations. The official name of this initiative that I'm here to speak to you about this morning is the Market Street Corridor Emerging and Expanding Business Program, which we actually began planning about a year ago. A group of organizations came together and we began to discuss what could be done to ensure that the revitalization efforts on Market Street continued. The initial collaboration included First State Community Loan Fund, Wilmington Renaissance Corporation, Downtown Visions, Senior Loan Fund, the Buccini Poland Group, Market Street Answers, the State of Delaware, the City of Wilmington, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Capital One. One of the things that we realized early on was there were a lot of folks doing a lot of great things on Market Street. But one of the things that came along with that is folks were working together. I mean, folks were working, but we weren't necessarily working together. Our efforts weren't necessarily coordinated. So the group began to meet on a regular basis, and what that gave us an opportunity to do was to sit down and talk about who we were working with, what businesses we were working with, what we could do with them, and what we could do collectively to support the efforts that were going on Market Street. Another thing that we realized was that additional capital was going to be needed to support this initiative. So we've created this Market Street Corridor Revitalization Fund. Through the Corridor Revitalization Fund, First State Community Loan Fund will make available up to $50,000 to a business. Eligible applicants will include small businesses, landlords, and developers. The area will span from 2nd Street to 12th Street, and eligible uses of funding will be site acquisition, construction and renovation, business expansion, working capital, inventory, furniture, and fixtures. So now let me tell you about the great part about this new initiative. The funding will be structured in the form of a forgivable loan. So I said forgivable loan. So as long as the covenants and conditions are adhered to, there will be no payments during the term of the loan, and then at maturity the loan will be forgiven. The purpose is to act as a catalyst to encourage economic revitalization on the Market Street corridor, to facilitate development and contribute to a vibrant community with retail, entertainment, and food establishments. What we hope is that the Corridor Revitalization Fund will be used in concert with the Downtown Development District Grant Program, Downtown Visions Facade Program, and other incentives that are available to support small businesses on Market Street. I would like to thank our primary funder, JP Morgan Chase. It's been mentioned already, the $625,000 grant that they gave us to launch this program. It's actually a 2-year program, so we have monies that will last until the end of next year. And this couldn't have happened without them. So Bill and the folks from JP Morgan Chase, thank you. I'd also like to thank the other organizations that I mentioned earlier. I look forward to a continued working relationship with each of you. We're going to begin accepting applications for the Corridor Revitalization Fund on October 1st. So thank you everybody for coming out. Don't forget Twisted Soul, come in, have some chicken and waffles, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you as you move forward. Thanks a lot.